This is from James, who says, have you guys even taken, I think he's taken Arsenal's injuries into consideration this season? I believe that Arteta is arrogant, but I think it is pathetic not to consider it.
I want to answer this one. The reason why I didn't take injuries into perspective is you weren't top of the league when Saka was fit. If you were top of the league when Saka was fit, you'd have had a leg to stand on, but you weren't even top when he was here. That's the thing that ruins this argument for you. And at the same time, I said my club bottled the league last season, even with all the injuries we had. So I don't mess around with this injury stuff. You have to be prepared. You have to come ready for war. Simple as.
Yeah, sorry, I was pouring a drink. Salai, says Arsenal is a loser club. Not surprised.
Damn, Arsenal fan.
With disgusting attacks on Plaster family and culpability of content creators in creating a frenzy, will this have an impact on what you do?
I don't understand this.
Disgusting attack on. Do you mean just a disgust on players' families? You mean the Kai Havertz stuff? Listen, me criticizing
what Kai Havertz stuff. What happened?
Okay, so Kai Havertz's wife was sent messages saying they're going to come to the house and murder her unborn baby, and they hope she has a miscarriage and things like this. Vile stuff. Vile. I look at it this way: somebody criticizing Kai Havertz, somebody saying they want him sold. That none of those people are responsible for anything some scumbag does online. If there are people advocating for nasty behavior, nasty treatment, telling people to DM them and abuse them, then I think you get into a different realm when you're in a different conversation whatsoever. But I don't like, and I'm not a fan of the idea that if Mo today says, I really don't, if you guys watch that Rory Jennings and we go, no, why? Oh, he had such a bad take on Inter Milan. If the football terrace community then goes and starts DMing him, DMing his wife, nasty messages, that is not on the football terrace and that is not on Mo, because nobody instructed you to go and do that. I don't think anybody is culpable. The same as if Mikel Arteta comes out today or Kai Havertz and says the people that did this are a disgrace, and then certain other Arsenal fans start DMing people that criticize the player with those level of abusive messages, I don't think Arteta or the player are responsible. Individuals are responsible for their own behavior in these circumstances, my friend. However, what I do, if I feel like a player is getting a little bit... So Jadon Sancho, when he was first of all removed from the squad, I didn't like that he commented on the situation publicly. I didn't like that Ten Hag called him out, but I also called out Sancho. When I started seeing the horrible PR from the club, all the leaks that came out, and then when you're hearing about him eating his lunch in the car, I stopped all manner of criticism of the player because I felt it was going too far. So I do think you can be responsible. However, if he misses 3 open goals today, it isn't wrong to criticize that performance, in my personal opinion.
Let's put it this way. If I call Darwin Núñez a 70 million pound Uruguayan pile of shit, I'm not responsible if someone DMs him something abusive, because I didn't ask them to abuse him, and I don't condone abuse of any football player or their family. But Darwin Núñez is shit on the pitch. So there's two different things.
I feel that if you go too far with the pejoratives, if it goes from, he was shit today, to getting nasty about him consistently, and then you see the pile on and you jump on it more because it's getting traction, I think you play a part in it at that stage. I think as adults, you can go, do you know what? He's getting enough, and there's a difference between criticism and calling someone names. But I certainly do think people are responsible for their own actions. This year from Omar, he says, timing of the news could smell like PR. Why now? Yeah, Omar, we said this on a few shows yesterday. If they do no other business, Arsenal, then there's definitely an element of there's an element of PR to it anyway. Let's put some good news out there, definitely. But all clubs do that at all times, my friend. Saka wasn't the first injury, Hussam. Before that, Odegaard was out for 2 months, and you can recall the back four you played. Can you recall the back four you played against at the Emirates?
Spandan, to a quick response to that, Odegaard is the same player that missed a penalty against Man United and has 1 assist in the last year or something. And when it comes to the back four, you would have been the same person that said you're happy with your defensive depth. So there's no excuses. So I don't want no BS, man. Don't want no BS.
Only an ops observation that it means want only an opposition would want Arteta sacked. He needs to be backed with funds and not sacked. The Cronkies are not ambitious enough. Arteta is the scapegoat, is what Kenneth says here. Stats-wise, Arsenal are having a better season than last season. Same points, more goals scored, less goals conceded. Not playing as pretty, though, for sure. That's an interesting statistic. I didn't realize.
Tony, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell my own fan base. Put the calculator down. Think about this from more a momentum perspective. Like, you're supposed to be really running away with this league, the fact that City have bottled it.
This here says, if a structure is implemented, a manager is whatever.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If we never hired Jurgen Klopp, we wouldn't have won the league.
You still need a good coach, absolutely. People are scared of Arteta being sacked because they see what a good manager he is and what he would do with proper backing. We want to be here with Arsenal, we want him to do it with Arsenal, not at City and Barca. There is a fundamental difference when you bring up Chelsea. Chelsea's biggest glory, the 2 Champions Leagues, were won after sacking a manager. Arsenal's glory has been by trusting Wenger's process. Yeah,
that's actually factually not that accurate, because Wenger's biggest success came at the start of his Arsenal career, where he won like 3 league titles in 6 or 7 years, won the double as well. So like at the beginning, it wasn't a process. I think he won like the 2nd or the 3rd year. He won and against Ferguson as well.
Yeah, he inherited a very good Arsenal core, absolutely, and he grew off that, and he built a new team after it, and they did very, very well. Chelsea winning 2 Champions Leagues after sacking managers. Look, there is merit to that. There is merit to it. What did they do? What did those managers do afterwards? What you should be aiming for, if you've got the highest standards, is someone that can deliver those trophies and continuity and consistency within the league. That's what you should be aiming for. But yeah, sometimes you do sack managers and there's a knee jerk and you get success straight away, as in a trophy is one as an example. But how often does that happen? Chelsea have done well with it, absolutely. So maybe it pushes their fans into thinking like, well, there's sack Maresca, maybe we go on to win the league. We've won Champions Leagues that way. But how often does that happen? I'd love someone to do the research on that. Factually, we've had the most injuries in the Prem this season, and we're on the same points at this stage. It's not rocket science. We are not as good. People will call this an excuse. It's called context. Andrew here says Arsenal will have to play a release clause in the summer, and other teams can change his mind. So he didn't reject Liverpool because we didn't go in for him. I'm talking about him rejecting Liverpool in the summer in the title, my friend. It was very clear. If you watch the video,
he got rejected by Zubimendi. Just get over it. Khalas, guys. Stop making this bullshit excuse.
Yeah, sorry about the title.
We got rejected, and it's the reality.
Interesting observation. Man United fans condoned Ten Hag publicly for saying Sancho wasn't working hard enough in training. Almiron got praised for doing the same thing. I understand where you're coming from. And I feel as though what everybody said at the time was, if you do that, you better win. You better come out on top. And it remains to be seen whether Amorim has done that as a case in point. The situation is also different. Amorim has just come in. He hasn't been there for a long period of time and fouled in the league with or without Jadon Sancho as an example. So a lot of people saw it. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I'm really not. But if you actually listen to what Amorim said, it was more than one player. And then he spoke about everybody has to adhere to standards. He also praised the individuals afterwards and said they're going to be given chances to get back into the team. So if we want to get really pernickety, the circumstance, the context, the words he used, the tone on his face, the things he said, and the treatment of the players afterwards was very, very different. He isn't making Marcus Rashford and Garnacho eat their lunch in the car park. There is a fundamental difference in that approach, my friend. But I still rather things be kept in-house. I stand by that. Any manager who spends 5 seasons and over 700 million at a club is expected to win trophies. No expectations.
No exception. I agree. This is fact as well.
I agree. I think that's absolutely. I mean, no exception. Sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely right.